I'm going to show you step by step how to safely install an SSD into your PS5 in order to expand your storage without breaking your console or voiding your warranty. Before we begin, you will need to make sure your PS5 software is up to date and you have a compatible SSD ready to install. If you haven't yet purchased one, check out the video at the top right of the screen to see a list of the best SSDs for a PS5, then come right back here to see how to install it. Step 1 is to turn off your system and unplug it, then remove the stand from your console. If you use it vertically, the stand will be screwed in, so just use a coin or flat-headed screwdriver in order to remove it. With the stand removed, now lay the console down flat so that the side of the PlayStation logo is underneath and the front of the console is facing away from you. If you have a disc edition, that means the disc drive will be at the top left corner. Before doing anything else, just lay your hands down onto a metal grounded object in order to remove any static electricity from your body. We'll now be removing the faceplate, which can be done easily by firmly holding the top left corner so that the console isn't moving around, and then by placing your right thumb onto the bottom right of the plate with the rest of your right hand underneath, which you are then able to use to pull up ever so slightly while sliding the plate to the left. The first time doing this may be more difficult, and I should stress that you don't need to use too much pressure pulling as you are mainly aiming to just slide it off of the console. Now that the side plate is off, look towards the top right where you should see a rectangular silver plate fastened down by a screw. From this point forward, you will need a Phillips one screwdriver, so if you don't have one, I'll leave a link in the description and you can go and pick one up. Using your screwdriver, remove the black screw, being careful not to drop it into the fan, and then slide out the metal cover to reveal the PS5's SSD expansion slot. To the very right of the bay, you should see another smaller screw. You need to remove this one as well and place it on one side. There's a small silver standoff too that you should keep with it. It's now time to install the solid state drive into your PS5. I'm using the WD Black SN850, but there are lots of great drives out there. Let me know what SSD you're using as well as how big it is in the comments down below. This particular SSD does come with a heatsink, but if your SSD doesn't, I will leave links in the description to the best heatsinks to use with it, which you can then add onto a drive. Take your SSD so that the small indentation on the plating is located within the top half, and line it up with the slot on the left hand side of the bay. Once you feel as though it is resting in the slot, push it fully in with your right hand. So remember that small screw and standoff we just removed? You now need to take those back and place them into the threaded hole that lines up with the end of your particular M.2 SSD. Using your left hand, keep the SSD firmly held down whilst you screw it in with your Phillips one screwdriver until it won't get any tighter. Your SSD is now installed, so it's time to reassemble the PS5 and set the drive up on the system. Unless you have purchased Sabrent's PS5 heatsink bay cover, you now want to take back the rectangular silver bay cover as well as a screw that has small PlayStation icons engraved upon it. Slide the cover over the expansion slot from the right so that it clicks in and then screw it tightly back in. If you want, give your console a little wipe down whilst the plate is off just to remove any patches of dust you might see. Now grab your PS5's faceplate that we removed and gently place it back onto your console from the left hand side so that the hooks get back into their correct slot. Once it's placed on top of the system, slide it firmly to the right so that you can hear an audible click signaling that it has been properly reattached. You can now put your PS5 back on the stand, plug it in and power it on. When you first turn on your console, you should be prompted to format the SSD you just installed, so do that and wait for the process to complete. Once finished, the tested read speed of your SSD will be shown, and it is important that this is above 5,500 megabytes per second. Anything slower than 5,000 and PS5 games may not work properly. If you believe this read speed to be wrong and it should be above 5,000 with your SSD, then return your SSD stating that performance was slower than advertised. Otherwise, now click on OK. Your PS5 will now start as normal. Head on over to settings, then storage, then M.2 SSD storage to manage your new storage device. You should be able to see the size at the top right, and all of this is usable space. However, I do recommend to try to keep the drive below 80% full in order to maintain optimal performance. You should do the same with the PS5's main internal storage too, in order to stop the system from slowing down. To move games over to the expansion slot, go to your console storage, click the options button, then select items to move, and choose to move any items you select to the M.2 SSD. You can do this straight from your homepage as well. Both PS4 games and PS5 games will work brilliantly from the SSD, with no difference in loading times or performance. SSD heavy workloads such as Ratchet Rift Apart also have no problem running straight off the SSD, running just as smoothly as they do on the main console storage. Furthermore, in your storage settings, you can change your default installation location for your PS4 and PS5 games to your new M.2 SSD. If you've now successfully expanded your PS5 storage, then drop a like as a way to say thank you, as well as consider subscribing to see more PlayStation focused content. Also, if you want to know which SSDs are the fastest, cheapest, and best value for PS5 in 2021, then click the video on screen now. Anyway, that's all from me in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.